Hello and welcome to this special insight programme brought to you with the support of Rolls-Royce. At the recent Aviation Africa summit in Rwanda, Akbar Al Baker, the dynamic and sometimes controversial chief executive of the Qatar Airways Group, led the A-list of industry speakers. And I had the chance to talk to him on stage about key issues affecting his airline and the challenges affecting the growth potential of African airlines and airports. I started by asking him about the investment by Qatar into Rwanda's new international airport and its national carrier.
Quite frankly, I think that we saw the potential in a place that is right in the center of Africa, a stable economic and political climate, and the relationship they have with the state of Qatar. I found that this was the prime place where we could invest in Africa. We see the huge potential of Africa, the resilience of the African people, and it is an airline and the airport that we are building in Rwanda, but keeping in mind that it will attract expertise from all around Rwanda. And it was very clear from His Excellency, the President of Rwanda, that he don't only want this to be a project for Rwanda, but he wants to also invite the neighboring countries to benefit from what we are going to do here. And this is very exciting to me.
Well, while saying that he doesn't have a blank cheque, Al Baker explained that the key to success of the venture is investment in human capital.
One of the plans we have is to build, together with the airport and the airline, a training institution to train cabin crew, train ground staff, train handling staff, train equipment operators, train engineers, even train pilots. You know, we have a flying school in Qatar where we could bring the Rwandans and other people from around Rwanda to come and to get trained. We have very advanced training facilities, and that will be transferred here in order not only to bring the training for Rwandese employees of the airline, but also from the region, to make it a center of excellence in aviation for Africa. Training is so important when a country needs to progress economically. You need trained people to do that. And unfortunately, in Africa, the governments are not paying enough attention to train their people. And we have, for example, in my country and in my company, we have many Africans in ground services, in customer services, in cabin crew, we have pilots. But these people see opportunity outside. So they leave and go and work outside. But they don't come back to bring that expertise that they have learned back to Africa. The only way to do that is to create a center of excellence here, so that we do the same training that we do, and then they stay behind with us, that we do here, and they stay and serve their own country.
Al Baker is the chairman of the One World Alliance, and so I asked him his views on the way that smaller airlines are treated and what the chances are of an airline like Rwandair joining Qatar in One World.
Up to now, alliances have been using smaller airlines to stifle competition. And me, as the chairman of One World, I want to create an alliance that is win-win for every single member of the alliance, and not try to let the big boys in the alliance to take advantage of their smaller colleagues. When you need to become a member of an alliance, you need to have the right IT systems, you need to have right of governance, you need to have a proper technical structure. Because you see, once you become an alliance member, you are co-sharing. So you're transferring your passengers on the other airlines and vice versa. So you need to know that the standard is uniform. We would like Rwanda to be part of One World, and we will do everything within our ability to bring them to the standard to be ready to join the One World.
Aviation Africa had a large number of startup airlines represented, and I asked the Qatar CEO about their chances and how they could get around the lack of finance available.
You see, the reason why the carriers are not getting financing or support from the banks or support from aircraft manufacturers, because so many airlines started up and then they failed with massive losses. If you don't have really the right mindset, the financial capability, I always tell people when they come to me, they said, Akbar, we have this big idea, we have this big population, we want to start an airline, we are offering you, a big stake and the huge potential here. And I very straight away tell them, and there are a lot of times they are not governments, but they are businessmen. I tell them, if you are a billionaire and you want to become a millionaire, you have to then launch an airline. And airlines, startups, in my humble opinion, can always be a government. Without the government getting involved and having the financial muscle, because no airline in the first years will ever make a profit. So you need to have the stomach to accept that an airline that you're starting has to be done in a very professional manner, in a very planned manner, with adequate financial resources till it gets off the ground. And this is where a lot of airlines in Africa have failed, because they have started with a vision, but then one of the three things that I just mentioned for the airline to succeed is not available. But the potential is there. And there is a huge potential to have a hub.
Qatar's dispute over paint problems on its Airbus A350s has marred the relationship with the European manufacturer. And so I asked him how important relationships with supply chain actually are.
Look, I know that everybody is aware we have a problem with an aircraft manufacturer. I'm not going to be dragged into it. We are litigating, so I will leave it at that. If talking about suppliers, it is very important that suppliers should know that they have to support their clients, their customers, at the time of difficulty in order to gain the long-term confidence and long-term business opportunity with them. Suppliers and OEMs should not look at only to the distance of their nose. They need to know that the whole industry is in a predicament at the moment, not only because there was a huge downturn in demand due to COVID, but also because the governments spoiled the employees by keeping them at home and paying them hefty salaries, which now is impeding the requirement of these airlines and the governments to bring back people to work. And this is very important, that people should realize that they need to take advantage of the demand that the upturn in aviation has created, and not look at the short-term gain that they got from their governments and start avoiding to go back to work, because it is extremely important for them to realize that in the long term they need to go back to work, and they need to go back to work in a profession they are really very happy with. Aviation is like being a drug addict. Once you get into aviation, you don't want to get out of it. I think it's maybe the smell from the engines.
Don't forget this is sponsored by Rolls-Royce this session, so let's talk about smell from engines. So,
No, but Rolls-Royce engines are now smelling less because they emit less CO2.
And that's, you mentioned sustainability.
Is there somebody from Rolls-Royce here?
There's lots of people from Rolls-Royce here.
Then they need to make me a big check for that.
Certainly, sustainability is high on the Qatar agenda, but Al Baker is not impressed by the public perception.
We are the least emitters if you really look at the CO2 emissions from different sectors of the industry. But now, whatever it is, we are getting the flack from the customers, from the general public. But what is important to know, to know, what is the alternative? Is there any alternative to aviation? And my answer is no. So the only thing we can do is to pressure the technology providers and the oil companies to come up with alternate fuel. It could be hydrogen, nitrogen, SAF, whatever it is. There is not enough aggressive research going into the field of alternate energy supply in order to mitigate the challenges we have to reach our targets by 2050. We want to do it. I don't know if we will be able to do it. People who produce SAF are not producing them to get the volume, to get the economies of scale, because they have invested so much in oil fields, they keep on investing in new oil fields, and they want to get their return on investment, so there is no incentive to research and produce large volumes of SAF so that they can reduce the price. If I want to buy SAF today, I have to pay at least 3-4 times or 5 times the price of a normal aviation fuel, because there is not volumes produced to get the cost down. I am ready to pay 10% or 20% more than what I'm paying for my fuel uplift today. But not to the extent of 4 times, because at the end of the day, it will become so uneconomical for you to transport your cargo, to transport passengers on a commercial airplane. Or the passenger will have to pay 3 times or 2 times the price of the ticket they're paying today. Very simple.
Well, if you want to see the whole fireside chat with Akbar Al Baker, you can go to the Aviation Africa website or the Times Aerospace YouTube channel. And thank you, Rolls-Royce, for sponsoring this program, and of course, to you for watching it. Goodbye.